Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I have a really fun video where I'll be sharing Christmas DIYs. I'll be using a transfer method where you do not need a cutting machine. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. If you do, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Now let's go ahead and get started. For most of the projects in today's video, I'm going to be using this Waterslide decal paper from the brand Hiipoo. Hiipoo was nice enough to send me this pack of papers to give them a try and let you guys know how they work. They do come 20 sheets per pack and they are made for an inkjet printer. All of the papers have a more shiny, glossy side, which I would say is the front side, and then on the back side, it's more of a matte, flat. And I'm going to be printing all of my images on the front shiny white side. Each pack of papers come with an operating instruction manual. All of the instructions are super informative and really easy to understand. It has the written instructions as well as the illustrated instructions. As you can see here, I've already printed all of the images that I'm going to be using in today's video on the decal paper, but for the paper to work, you also need a protective clear sealer. This one is the Rust-Oleum Clear Matte Enamel Sealer, and this is the one I'm going to be using today. So after you have your images all printed, you do need to lightly spray all of them with a sealer. And you do have to do 3 different coats and you wait 10 minutes between each coat for them to fully dry. Some of the images that you see here I ended up not using in the video, and then there's others that you will see that I ended up printing and spraying off camera. To create all of my images that I'm using today, I did them on a website called canva.com. They have a lot of really great free options. I pay for the pro plan every month, but there's a ton of really great free stuff on there as well. This Cookies for Santa image that I created is going to be the first one in today's video. Now that all of the sealer has completely dried, I can go ahead and start cutting around my image. You do want to leave a little bit of that white paper on the outside of your images. This one was a little bit more tricky to cut out since it was words that I was cutting around instead of just like a square or a circle. For this project, I'm also using a large bowl of cold water, and then the base that I'm going to be putting my image on is this white plate with a gold rim that I picked up from Dollar Tree. Here's my image all cut out, and it's now ready for me to place in my bowl of cold water. I'm going to leave it in my bowl of water for about 30 to 60 seconds, and the image curling up is completely normal. It is supposed to do that. But before I take my image and place it on my plate, I am putting a little bit of water on the surface of my plate, because if I don't do this step, I won't be able to move my image around and get it exactly placed where I want it to be, and it could tear my paper. And now that my image has been in the water for 30 to 60 seconds, I'm removing it from the white paper backing and placing it in the center of my plate. I'm moving it around very carefully to get it exactly where I want it to be. And once I have it placed, I then take a piece of paper towel and I'm just dabbing all of the excess water off and then rubbing out very carefully any of the wrinkles that are in the paper. And this is the Cookies for Santa plate all finished. There is a little bit of glare around the plate from my lights, so sorry about that. But this plate turned out so cute. It was super easy and such a great option for those who do not have a cutting machine. For this next one, I did the same thing. You guys already saw me spray 3 coats of the sealer on this image. I created it in canva.com, just like I said before. And for this one, I am going to be using it on one of these just plain white coffee mugs from Amazon. To get my image all ready, I did need to go and cut around my image, leaving a little bit of that white paper around it. Once it was all cut out, it was ready for me to drop into the bowl of water for about 30 to 60 seconds. Again, I did put a little bit of water on the front of the mug where I'm going to be placing the image so that I can move it around without it sticking. I then removed the image from the paper backing and place it on the front of my mug, just moving it around very carefully and getting it placed where I want it to be, then using that paper towel once again to take off any of the excess water and then rub out any of the wrinkles. And here is the mug all finished. I am in shock at how good this looks. It is like a store-bought mug, and I can't believe that I was able to create it with decal paper. It's crazy. Next, I'm going to be showing you just real quickly, I created this It's the Most Wonderful Time of Year image, and I did the same steps to transfer it onto this white tumbler. Now I'm going to be showing you this reindeer treats image and what I did to transfer it onto glass and what it actually looks like. I did the same steps as the other papers. I did the 3 coats of sealer. I cut around my image. I placed it in the water for the 30 to 60 seconds. But since this is an image with just writing and it doesn't have like a square or circle background, I wanted to show you guys what it looks like on clear glass. You can see here that the image does have a little bit of a cloudy background and you can see the paper a little bit. I think it still turned out super cute, but I did want to let you guys see what it will look like if you were to just have words printed like I have here. And what I ended up doing once I had it all on my glass and all the water was all evaporated and the wrinkles were out, I did wait for it to dry before I added any of these dog treats. I put dog treats in the jar because obviously I don't have any reindeer around, and then I ended up just using some of the bell garland from Dollar Tree around the top lid. I still think that this project turned out super cute, but I did want to let you guys know that if you're going to be doing just plain words with no background behind the words, that putting it onto a white background I think works best. Next, I thought it would be really fun to print an actual photograph on the paper and see how that turned out instead of creating your own image. So I'm using this one here. This is a picture of my son, and I did the same thing as I did with the other ones. I did the 3 coats of the sealer once I printed my image out, and now I'm cutting around my son. I actually wish I would have just left like a square shape around him, but I actually like cut his silhouette out. So once that was all cut, I placed his silhouette picture into the water again for the 30 to 60 seconds, just like I did with all of the other images. I just thought that this would be really fun to see how a photograph would actually look. I did use a plain white mug, just like the one I used earlier in the video. Same steps, just place the picture on the mug and got rid of all of the excess water and the wrinkles out of the image. And I think this looks so cute, and this would actually be a really good gift for Christmas. I know this one isn't actually Christmas themed, but I thought it would be a really good idea for a Christmas gift. And I ended up putting my son's picture on the front side, and then on the back side of the mug, I did a picture of our dog, and I just think it turned out super cute. Next, I thought it would be a good idea to try to use the paper on a wood surface instead of using it on like porcelain cups and plates. So I'm using this piece of wood that came in a pack with a bunch of different wood from Hobby Lobby, and I'm painting it with my Waverly chalk paint and plaster. Once the plaster color was dry, I used the Folk Art paint in Java to dry brush this color around all of the edges of my block to give it a distressed look. This Merry Christmas image I did print from canva.com. It was one of the images that was already pre-made, and then I've already done my 3 coats of sealer, and now I'm just cutting around my image. Since this image is a rectangle, it was so much easier for me to cut out. And then I'm doing it in the bowl of water for the 30 to 60 seconds. I am placing water onto my wood before I remove my image from the paper and place it onto my wood. I will say, since wood absorbs water, it was a little bit more tricky for me to move my image around once I had it on the wood because I couldn't really move it around. So where I placed it, that's where it pretty much stayed. As you can see, it wasn't completely centered, but I think it turned out really good still. I think next time I would probably do a sealer on my wood so that it has more of a slick surface and maybe wouldn't absorb so much water, and then I would be able to work with the image a little bit better. And this is what the finished block looks like. I think it looks really cute still, even though there was a little bit of a mess up, but this was my first time using the paper on wood, and now I know what to do next time to be able to move my image around and get it centered exactly where I want it to be. Next, I'm moving on from the decal paper, and now I'm going to be using this transfer iron-on paper that Hiipoo was also nice enough to send me. This pack of paper here, the sizes are 8.5 by 11, and it's to be used with an inkjet printer, and this one is for dark fabrics. It has a really good instruction manual that comes in the pack of paper, and then each paper has a front white side, and then on the back of the paper it is a grid pattern. Each pack of paper also comes with 2 sheets of grease-proof paper and then also 1 sheet of polyester film. Here is the image that I'm going to be using to transfer. I did create this one, and I will have it linked down in my description box if you're interested in the free printable. So I have my image all printed on the paper, and next I'm going to be using my heat press for this. You can use an iron if you do not have a heat press. In the instructions, it says it's best to do it at 340 degrees. So I'm setting my heat press to that temperature, and then I'm also setting my heat press to 30 seconds because that's how long I'm going to be putting it on my image to transfer it. The instructions say 25 to 30 seconds. For this project, I'm going to be using one of these plain red bandanas from Hobby Lobby. This bandana was only 99 cents, and I'm going to be using it to create a decorative tea towel, so I'm not going to be using it as a bandana. And then here is my image. I'm just going to be cutting it down a little bit. I'm still going to be having it in a square shape, but I just wanted it to be a little bit smaller. So once I get that all cut down, then I'm going to be taking my heat press, and I'm just going to be getting out any of the wrinkles that are in my fabric for about 5 seconds. Next, I'm peeling the grid backing away from my image and then getting my image placed in the bottom center of my fabric and just making sure it's pressed down really well. I'm then using the grease-proof paper over top of my image, and then I'm placing my heat press over top of that and setting it for the 30 seconds. Once the 30 seconds is up, I'm just removing the heat press and the transfer paper. I knew that I was going to be adding a lot of embellishments to this piece. I'm using some of this really pretty decorative ribbon. I think this was from the Target dollar spot around Valentine's Day a few years ago, and I just had it in my craft stash and thought it would be really cute on this. So I'm using some hot glue to attach it on all 4 sides of my image. Now, this is a decorative piece. This towel is not to be used. This is just going to be displayed in my kitchen. So me putting ribbon and greenery and stuff on it is not going to be a problem. So once I have all of this really pretty white ribbon around, I'm going to be adding some jute. I did 2 pieces of jute around all 4 sides. I just cut those down for each side and then hot glued them on. Then I used some greenery pieces from Hobby Lobby that I had already had cut down, and I hot glued them going in each direction at the very top of my image. And then I also placed some of this berry garland from Dollar Tree, and then I had these really tiny mini bells that I also added to the center of the greenery. And here is my decorative Christmas tea towel all finished. I think it turned out great. I love the look of this. That transfer paper was super easy to use. It was my first time using it, and I think it is a great alternative to using a cutting machine. So if you don't have a cutting machine, I recommend using this iron-on transfer paper. Next, I'm going to be doing one more DIY. This is the last one for today. I'm using one of these black canvas drawstring bags from Hobby Lobby, and then this is the image that I created that I'm going to be using on the bag, and you guys will be able to get the free printable of this image if you would like. It will be in the description box. So I'm just cutting my image down a little bit. I've already printed it and now it's cut down. I'm then removing the grid backing from the back, placing it in the center of my little canvas bag here, using the grease-proof paper over top of it, and again doing the same 340 degrees for the 30 seconds with my heat press. Again, if you don't have a heat press, you can always use a regular iron. I'm then removing the heat press and then also the transfer paper. As you can see, it melted a little bit, and I'm not really sure why, maybe because it is a canvas, but it ended up being fine because I am adding jute around all 4 edges, kind of like I did on the last project. I just think it adds a little bit of a rustic feel to this bag, and to attach the jute, I just used a little bit of hot glue. Then for the last step, I wanted the bag to look like it had something in it, so I just used 2 pieces of paper towel, rolled them up and placed them in the bag, and then just tied the bag at the very top. And here is my mini decorative bag of coal. I think it turned out really cute. It was super easy to do. Today's video was a little bit different than what I normally do here on my channel, so I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you do, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends and family. If you're not subscribed, I hope that you will consider subscribing, and please be sure to hit the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any of my future videos. Thank you so much for watching.